Welcome to Beacon and thanks for choosing mine. Today I'm going to be playing Purphoros. It's not a flashy commander, everyone knows what it does, but I sure as hell love playing it. It's one of those decks that you could just give to anybody, like especially new players or people that are interested in playing. Like I let my wife, if she has the courage to play Magic with me and my buddies, I let her just play this one, just because she knows the basics of Magic. She feels overwhelmed by all the options that you have in the game, so I feel like this deck kind of eliminates a lot of those. It's also a group slug deck, so you don't feel guilty for knocking anybody else, which I think a lot of new players have a hard time coming to terms with. New players have a hard time with threat assessment, and if you play a group slug deck, you take that away. The only thing that sucks is everyone knows what you're trying to do, and you paint a nice target on your head. You just have to be okay with those terms. That's the drawback with this deck, is if you give it to a new player and they get targeted out of a game, they'll probably be a little upset because they don't necessarily know why. They're just playing the game, and so many unspoken rules about Magic. I don't know. My motto is do whatever makes you happy. My goal is to have fun my way and not necessarily meeting everyone else, trying to make sure they have fun. That's not my responsibility to do. That's you as an individual to find, as it is for me to find my own fun. So we're gonna play a game. I'll include a deck list. The only things I've really updated recently, it's the Red Dominus and Mechanized Warfare from Brothers War. Otherwise, this list is pretty old. I've been playing this deck since almost the dawn of time. Purphoros is just some good old-fashioned fun that doesn't get boring for me. Why it's withstood the test of time, I think. Play what you want, so we're gonna play Purphoros. Perfect. While we wait, we can talk about things that have been going on that's interesting. I actually got my first ban on the Magic TCG subreddit. I don't know if I necessarily deserve it. It was for posting my content, because it is quote-unquote self-promotion. I don't really mind so much. I think I earned that posting. It's not like I think they have the rule in there for like people spamming stuff to garner attention, and like the rule is you're only allowed to post one self-promoting thing once a week, which I agreed to those terms and I forgot them. I'm a part of a lot of subreddit groups, so it's not something I keep on my mind of things to remember, and like managing my agreements on Reddit is definitely not at the forefront of things I want to honor or remember to honor. And it's just a week. It's not a big deal. And navigating moderators it's also kind of a weird thing. It's nothing personal. As long as like the rules are the same across the board, just how it is. It's not worth getting upset about. I'm probably not the first nor the last person to get some kind of punitive thing. It's just next time. I guess, you know, if I post a video and I just so happen to make another video within that week, I'll just save it and I'll make multiple links on one post. I don't know if I could do that, but can't hurt to try. The rules for subreddits are sometimes pretty lengthy, and I'm 100% certain that the Magic TCG one is probably just as bad. It's like the iTunes agreement form. It's like multiple pages long. It's in 8-point font, no spacing. It's just a drag. No one's gonna read that. They just hit the agree button and move on.
Fine, you don't want to be part of this? Then just sign right here. No, you didn't read it! This says we don't ever have to let you out and then we can do whatever we want!
The coveted subreddit rules for the Magic TCG that I should have had dedicated to memory.
I'm picking up your sarcasm.
My favorite part of this whole thing is the first paragraph where it says there's some rules. It would be one thing if I was abusing the subreddit to garner attention, but I wasn't. One video, I think, earns one post, considering how much effort it takes to make content. I guess I would like the exposure, but I mostly do it because I like to entertain people, and I also like to educate them, particularly even about a common interest such as Magic, which I think I have a lot of information worth sharing. I'm not the type to be angry about things and message the moderators about it. I don't mind making the moderators the butt end of a joke either, so if that garners me more punitive days of banning, then I think it's worth it. It's just a slap on the wrist. But anyways, I'm gonna keep, well, I already agreed to keep this hand. I got 2 lands and I have a rock. When I run out of action, I could Wheel of Fortune. Might be a while before that happens, but it's there. Alright, so I am playing against Phelldagrif, Raiyuu, and the Dragon. This will be a good matchup for me. Concerned about the Phelldagrif player, mostly because he has a life gain ability from the command zone, and he can kind of help people by gaining favor. Phelldagrif is one of the best political commanders. You know, scratch my back, I scratch yours. The thing about playing politics deck is, as a politician, you do some scummy things. Like actual politicians.
Every kitten grows up to be a cat. They seem so harmless at first, but once their claws get long enough, they draw blood.
You tell everybody that you're a group hug deck, but like, you hug people for personal gain. They're working an angle that you don't necessarily see, and they offer deals to their opponents so they could gain a game. And if you're not very familiar with playing with or against group hug decks, I think casual players are probably the worst at playing with them because they'll just accept it. They don't really they don't really care or aren't really aware of the consequences of accepting deals.
Shake with your right hand, but hold a rock in your left.
I feel like I've played against a little cheeky before. He's definitely killed me with this commander. It's just an extra combat step deck, and it's almost like taking extra turns, or at least it's just as effective. And I've been killed by this guy. I think he's good though. Why not? It's a Voltron and extra combat deck. I think he's perfectly fine Purphoros commander. We'll just suit him up and maybe kill 2 people in one turn. The Dragon is just a 5-color pile of big beefy dragons that make a bunch of mana, kind of like my Zakama deck, but instead of using activated abilities, he's just playing more dragons. Eventually, if the 5-color pile decks live long enough, they'll just outpace everything else, just because they have access to every card in the game. The ceiling is literally limitless with 5-color decks. So I'll be trying to kill that player in particularly first, and probably the Phelldagrif second, because he's got 3 colors and he's got a life gain ability at his disposal. Hopefully I rip another land off the top so I can cast my commander and get my game plan started. If not, probably just gonna play Mechanized Warfare. It's not bad. Not ideal either though. I almost wonder if Wheel of Fortune's better here. Everyone's still got like 6 cards in hand. Not really gaining much out of this. And I guess I'm Wheel of Fortuning for a land drop, which isn't that spicy, but I think it's better. Let's just, I wanna make my land drops, and my hand isn't exactly spectacular. Oh, look at that. I'll just play the Prismatic, get that out of the way. I don't think I would have played the Wheel of Fortune had these people had fewer cards in their hand and just dumped them out, because then I would have been doing them a favor. The trade-off for me is now I get to make land drops for a couple of turns. I have a loop combo in my hand. I got Neheb. That's a nice little piece too. And like the cards in my previous hand, they weren't the greatest. Like Direfleet Daredevil wasn't going to do anything for me for a while. That's like a good mid-game card because there were no removal spells in people's graveyards. I didn't really have a reason, because that's what it's normally used for, to deal with difficult to remove permanents that, you know, red's not so great at dealing with. So enchantments, that's a real damper. It's not something I could really deal with in this deck. Mechanized Warfare, which is a win more card. Mizium Mortars. It's an empty board, so I didn't really need it. I just treated them like dead cards in my hand. Fury would have been okay. Discard some dead cards to cheaply cast it. But then again, there weren't any creatures on the board worth destroying, so I think I made the optimal play choosing Wheel of Fortune over Mechanized or the Iron Mirror. The Iron Mirror would have delayed me. I would have gotten a land, but I would have missed a couple of land drops. Like my first 3 cards were Flametongue, Neheb, and Cloudstone Curio. I wouldn't have seen a land for 4 more turns. That would have been an all-time backfire for sure. And I got some cool cards out of people's hands. I managed to get rid of an Oblivion Ring, which could have gotten rid of my commander. I got rid of a Old Gnawbone, which just lets you play more dragons. And I got rid of a Teferi's Protection, which could have prevented him from dying on my turn, which would have been enough timing to survive and maybe deal with me. That would have been bad. Then again, people build their decks with purpose. Every card in their deck is meaningful, so I might be just making pat on the backs for nothing. Like I could have just refilled their hands with 7 cards that they're also just happy to be with. It's nothing. I like to pretend when I lose all the cards in my hand or milled that they were never in my deck, or at least I tell myself that. That's a good draw. Ristic Study is so obnoxious. If I'm in blue, I play Ristic Study too. It's just it's a skill check card. What I mean by skill check is you should always pay for Ristic Study. If you be the guy that throws away games because you didn't pay for Ristic Study. I just realized that the Hug player his username is Minnesota Nice. For those of you who don't know, I'm from Minnesota. And I guess the deck fits the name of the player. This is a true Hug deck because he's playing Braids. You're really playing with fire when you play cards like Braids. I can't stand decks that play a true Hug strategy. I don't know how many times I've seen people play these decks and one of their opponents basically wins the game because of someone else. I'd be happy, but it'd feel hollow to me because I got there from the help of someone else. If you can't pay, you don't play. And the reason why I cracked Prismatic Vista when I did was because I'm always wary of Opposition Agent. It's kind of funny how that card just warped all my habits from playing Modern and other 60 card formats, because normally I just crack them on other people's turns in response to something. And now it's just like, just play them as soon as you can, crack them as soon as you can. If the person playing black doesn't have three mana up, just do it so you don't get got. On my turn, I'm probably going to play Neheb. That way I could float a bunch off my Braids trigger. That way I could float a ton of mana. I think hard cast Solfim, and then I'll float even more mana from the Neheb in my second main phase, and I'll probably just dump my hand. I'm gonna get a lot of damage off. The Cloudstone will help me be able to use all the mana so I'm pretty excited for my turn. Let's see, I got 1, 2, 3, 4. So I net 1 mana off of Nykthos. I guess I could save the Nykthos activation, play Solfim now, and then I have more. Yeah, I'll use the mana from Neheb to pump into Nykthos. I like that idea. Now my Purphoros gets to become a creature. Normally I don't like that, but I want to pressure this dragon player. See if he blocks. I'll draw his ire. I'm okay with that. He's gonna kill all of us if the game goes along anyways. Might as well be me that goes first. If I wasn't already on his radar, I'm definitely going to be now. I'd be surprised if he blocks. I just want that mana, baby. Nice. I get a ton more mana. 24 red mana, always. Please. Alright, folks. Let me show you how it's done. Oh, he left. Look at that. I don't see that happen every day. Too good of a start. Okay. Let's play Cloudstone. Now I don't have to pay 1 for Ristic Study anymore. Let the fun begin. I'm gonna definitely take away the Braids. Doesn't matter what order I put this in. With the Cloudstone, I'm probably gonna bounce the Impulsive Pilfer. I don't know. I got nothing else to bounce. I could bounce anything. The point is, I'm going to be doing a ton of damage. Impulsive Pilfer is just cheaper. That's why I'm going to do this. Now I get to bounce a Flame Tongue and kill his Goblin token. Oh, I could do this. I could use all the mana. Yes. This might be enough to make these guys surrender. To use all the mana this turn. I have to target something, so I guess I'll hit. Is this not a May ability? It's not a May ability. I'll just hit my commander then. Since I'm not too keen on revealing what's in my hand, I don't have to play these 2 cards yet. So I could just work with what this guy has information about. Keep riding this mana. And this, folks, is why you don't play Braids. Me in particular, give me an inch, I'll take you for a mile.
I don't know how many times I've seen people play these decks and one of their opponents basically wins the game. I'd be happy, but I also, it would feel so I got there from the help of someone else.
I think I got it though. There you go, folks. The power of Purphoros.